Recording in
Hey, Mark.
Hello.
Welcome to class.
Thank you.
You're always early.
Yeah, I'm nervous with my
Zoom
technology stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I always
love
mess
it.
it up when I'm working, so
I'm always worried I'll mess it
I'm
up
all
too. I work.
frozen. I'm doing it on my laptop this time instead of my iPad. What?
Let me
Oh,
make
now I'm
sure that
frozen.
Am I good? Are you good?
I think you're good now. Okay.
Okay. I think it might have been on my end. Mine freaked out for a second. Oh, and we got Shaheem. Awesome. Hello, Shaheem.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Great.
Hello.
Welcome to class. I don't think I
Thank
got your GitHub username.
Oh, you haven't?
Yeah. Did you send that to me? Could you send that to me? That'd be
Yeah, I can
awesome. Yeah, if you want to just message it to me or whatever. So I have that. We're going to
Yeah.
use that in class today. An
Hey,
awesome question. Oh, what? Sorry.
I'm not in my house today. I went to North Carolina for a week, so like I'm working on the
Okay.
Mac, so they'll be working with me. So
Whatever.
I don't have my PC, the one I usually use, so like I have to
Uh-huh.
like re-download like everything and stuff like that, and hopefully like it works on the Mac.
We'll cross our fingers. Whatever happens, happens, you know?
Yeah.
Hey,
All right.
Jennifer.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Welcome to class.
Thank you.
What time is it? 3:57. People are showing up over the next little while. Let me get my stuff pulled up. Ooh, we just got Linda. Awesome. Well, guys, this is gonna be good. It's gonna be good. We're digging into the real stuff now. No orientation. Let's get into it. Let's do some JavaScript. Yeah, so hopefully we'll see how this goes. You guys are the first class I'm teaching this bit with, because my other class I started halfway through. So we'll see how this goes. I'm trying out stuff for the first time with you guys. You guys are my guinea pigs. You have no choice. But yeah, so we're gonna try doing some Git stuff kind of together, having you guys all commit to the same repository and kind of see how that works and stuff like that. We're gonna try it out. It'll give you a chance. Git is sticky. Git can get really confusing and stuff, so it'll get you a chance to get your hands dirty a little bit, and then we'll also talk about a lot of stuff. Hey, Linda.
Hello.
And we got James too. Hi, James. Oh, I should put
Hello.
my name. We didn't have James last week, but this is James. Hi.
Everyone.
I should put my name. Wait, where can I rename? Here we go. I'll put my name, guys, because I know sometimes it's like, wait, what's your name? Okay, there we go. Now it says my name. Hi. We got James, we got Shaheem. So we got a couple other people showing up in the next few minutes. But yeah, if you haven't sent me your GitHub username, please message me that or post it in our channel or something. And we'll be using that during class. Hopefully it works out. Yeah. Oh yay! It looks like I got. Yep, I got you guys. It's awesome. I got Shaheem's and I got James. Thank you guys. I think those are the last two I needed. So that is awesome. And everyone else should show up in the next few minutes. Awesome. We got, hi, Abby.
Hi.
Were you here last week, Abby?
No, I didn't have the laptop yet. I got it today and it wouldn't start up. I actually just got on and changed all the passwords and
Oh,
that thing. So, and I wasn't able to obviously do any of the other pre-downloaded stuff. But I'm gonna
okay.
come.
Yep.
Ah,
Ooh. Just let's. We gotta mute one of them. You can be in twice. You just gotta turn the sound off and mute one of them. I think we have 2 Abbies. This is exciting. We might have to find.
sorry about that.
No problem.
How do I-
We got Brendan. Awesome. Okay. We got almost everyone here, and it is 4 o'clock. Well, guys, welcome to class. Let me. Oh, I am recording. Awesome. I'm recording. Perfect. I'm already recording. Welcome to class. We are going to talk about week 1. We're going to talk a lot about Git and source control stuff because you guys are going to be using that throughout this class all the way through. You're going to be using GitHub to kind of turn in your assignments and stuff like that. So we're definitely going to talk about that. We're going to practice with it a little bit. If you've got that set up, you can participate in that. If you haven't, you can watch. It's fine too. We'll also talk about JavaScript. It's kind of just the first little taste of JavaScript, just a little tiny dab of it. But we'll talk about JavaScript. Some of you sent me some great questions. We'll talk about those. We'll dig into those. Some themes in the questions too, which is always a good sign that that's what we should talk about. But yeah, and we'll jump in. We'll have a great time. Well, here, let me share my screen. Oh, we just got some people. Let's see. We got Melissa. Awesome. Welcome, guys. Let me share my screen. Let's here we go. You guys see my screen? Tell me if I'm ever not sharing it and think I am. Does that happen sometimes? But yeah, so we're talking about the command line. We're just going to talk a little bit about that and source control, Git, and then JavaScript variables and stuff. But what questions do you guys have? Some of you sent me some questions. Does anyone have kind of questions off the top here that you guys have about the material from this week? Is it good? We'll dig into it. As always, you can always interrupt me and throw out any questions you have. I love it. But yeah, so let's jump in then. Let's talk about the command line. So we talked some about the command line. Some of you may have done little bits with it before. Some of you may have been brand new. The video shows like a lot of things with the command line, which you don't have to become a command line power user. I'm not like the biggest fan of the command line. I mean, obviously I use it all the time, but like some people use it kind of in place of like the file explorer, like instead of they'll like create all their folders there and all that kind of stuff. I don't really use it for that. I like the file explorer. It does it for me. So let me just pull. Yeah. So like this is the file explorer, right? You can create folders there, you can create files there, you can move stuff all through this, but you can also, do it in the command line, and you don't have to do it in the command line. That's just kind of an FYI there. But some things there is no what we call GUI, like a graphical visual way of getting things done. So you have to use the command line, or sometimes there's not a great way to do it visually. And so the command line is easier. And very often in programming, you need to be able to work through the command line. So that's kind of the important bit there. You don't have to get super like fast and be doing that like make dir and all that kind of stuff. You just need to kind of understand how to use it. And the most important thing with the command line is just understanding how to move around, how to do that CD command and move around to different folders and things like that. That's the most important bit. If you understand that bit, some of this other stuff, use it. If you like it, use it. I don't use it that often, so I'm not going to tell you you should use it. I've been doing this 15 years and I'm like, sometimes I use it, but typically I'll just open it up in the file explorer and set everything up how I like there. But yeah, and then obviously we're going to be doing, oh yes.
Hey, is it me or like it's lagging a little bit? Like, I don't know, mine like.
Am I lagging a little bit?
Mine is a little bit too.
Really?
lagging and
Mm.
it's cutting out. Yeah.
Oh, dang. Okay. Let me see if I have got something weird happening on my internet. Let me just check real quick. It seems like it's good. Maybe. Let me just make sure all my plugs are plugged in. Is it lagging a lot still? Is it better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Definitely let me know. I can also like leave and rejoin and see if that fixes it. Zoom can have issues sometimes. I'm just gonna check and make sure my Wi-Fi isn't doing weird things. You never know. You never know with Wi-Fi. It's exciting. Okay. Says everything's good, but let me know. Interrupt me or whatever. But yeah, so that is kind of the command line. If there was any bit that glitched out and you didn't hear it, you want me to repeat it, I can. But yeah, the most important thing with the command line for at this point right now is just that you sort of understand how to use it when we use it with Git. That's going to be the first thing that we're using it with. As you go through this course, we'll use it for some other things too. And understanding how to move to different folders is really, really helpful, really important. But again, some of this other stuff, it's icing on the cake. It's nice, but not essential. Oh, and then the ... like being able to move backwards a folder, right? CD lets you go deeper into a folder. ... lets you move backwards out of a folder. Any questions on the command line? Making sense to you guys? Awesome. Okay. Let's jump into source control then. Like I was saying earlier, you're going to be using source control throughout this class. It's really heavily used in web development. It's just, you know, almost always you're making code with other people in some way. There definitely are times you're making code by yourself, but even if you're making code by yourself, you want some way to sort of save it, right? And Git is kind of like the Google Docs for code, right? You want to be able to work with other people. You want them to be able to look at the same things you're looking at. You want to be able to see their changes. They want to be able to see yours, and you kind of want to be able to be working collaboratively. And that's kind of what Git does for us. Melissa, what's your question?
I don't know why, but I just finished the backend class and we were using GitHub to collaborate on our group project. And for some reason, it just kept it didn't work the way it was supposed to, because when someone would update it, it would delete the stuff that I had put in there and so forth.
Oh,
so
dear.
I don't know why.
Yeah, Git can get really sick. I mean, that has happened to me too. Like weird things. It shouldn't happen. And typically, if you're probably, you can get the stuff that you did. It's just kind of understanding what Git's doing. It sort of handles things in a weird way. It doesn't work quite like Google Docs does, where you just type and you see what they're typing and all that stuff. There's a lot more moving pieces happening that can make things get confusing. We're going to dig into that. I mean, I don't know exactly what happened when you were using it in your backend class. There's a lot of different things that can happen. And also caveat, I am not like a Git master ninja. I've used Git a good bit, but it's not like my one true love. So sometimes I run into things in Git that I gotta like Google like crazy and detangle. Definitely Git can get tangled up. But we're gonna do it in class today. I'm gonna make a repository. You guys are gonna all like commit to it and that kind of stuff. So we're gonna kind of try to tease out some confusing bits by using it during class and seeing kind of what you guys run into, and then we can talk about those things. But yeah, and we're also about to dig into what Git is doing, because if you understand how Git is working, then it's a lot easier to make sure things don't go wrong. But there's a lot of pieces happening with how Git is working, so we'll dig into it. Any other questions off the top with Git? We're gonna dig in, but yeah, so Git is like Google Docs, but unlike Google Docs where you just type and everyone can be typing at once and you can be typing on top of each other, that really doesn't work for code, because if people were writing code in the same place as you were writing code, they would break your code while you're trying to run it. So you need more control with code. You need to be able to tell it when you're ready to like send that out to other people to see, and when you want their changes to show up in yours. You kind of get control over when you send things out to other people and when you get things from other people, kind of. So you can kind of be working on a version of it, and then when you're ready, you kind of merge in your version into other people's versions and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of why we have Git and why it's kind of set up like it is, where it's a lot more complicated than Google Docs, because you need that control to not have it be chaotic, especially if you're working in a company that has 1,000 developers, right? All working on the same code base, basically, just all different files, all different parts and stuff like that. You need to be able to have really clear control and systems for how to kind of merge in people's changes and get people's changes down and all that kind of stuff. So this right here is just kind of a potential Git workflow. It's not super fancy or anything, but it will just get you set up with a repositories in the right places and kind of connect it all in and that kind of stuff. So you can use this when you're doing assignments and things. Obviously depending on how you're using it, different things can happen there, but this is kind of a basic workflow that you can use. Also, I share these slides on the Slack channel, so you'll have access to all this stuff. Brendan, did you have a question?
Yeah.
Or are you waving hi?
I meant to do the hand. I thought that's what the hand was. So I remember when they were doing the git commit part, they put like something else in front of the M, and I tried to do that too, and it said I had to like sign in. It didn't know who I was.
Ooh, yeah.
But I
Yeah,
you can remove that and just use the M. But I was just curious, what was that?
So in front of the M, like -AM, you mean?
Yeah, there was just one other letter that he put.
Yes.
I can't remember. I think it was M, I think.
So the needing to sign in, I don't believe was connected to that A. I'm trying to remember what that A does. There's a tons of different like flags. I could look it up for you. But the needing to sign in, you just need to sign in order to like connect and push to a repository, right? Because it's not gonna let just anyone do that. You do have to like sign in order to connect. What does that A do? Git commit -A flag. Those are called flags. I'm trying to remember what the A does. Come on. Alias? I can't find it. Come on. For some reason, it's really hard to find flags in Google. Like Google gets confused by them sometimes. But I'll figure out what that flag means and let you know. It's weird it doesn't explain it in the videos what that flag is, but you do not need that flag. You do need that -M guy, and the -A wasn't making you sign in. You have to just sign in regardless.
All right.
But yeah, I'll figure out what that -A flag is. I was gonna look that up and I forgot to, but I don't typically use it.
What does a flag do, I guess?
Sorry,
Like,
say it
what's the
again.
point of a flag?
Oh yeah, so when you're kind of doing a command, it's kind of a way to say some other information with it. So the -M flag, right? Where is that? The -M flag right here says, hey, I have a message that I want connected to this commit. So you say git commit, but then you're also like, oh, but I have another thing to tell you. I have a message, and then you give it the message. This is also a flag. I'm trying to remember that. I think that's a renaming flag. This flag handles another piece that we'll talk about. So you could do this without the flag, git push origin main, you could do that. But the -U says, hey, I don't have to type origin main every time I push. So just remember that for me. It sets the upstream, which is why it's a U. But yeah, so flags, depending on kind of what you're going to do, you might like use different little flags as you do git, just kind of do different pieces for you. I'm annoyed at myself for not looking up that -A flag, but I'll find that information for you. But yeah, there is a ton of different git flags, and that's part of what can get confusing with git, is that when you look up like, hey, how do I use git? They're like, well, there's this and there's that, and you can do it this way and that way, and it's like, you can just be like, blah, just tell me the steps, you know. So this right here will work. Obviously, there is way more depth with git. Git, you can go real deep. You can just dig right down to the Earth's core with it. But this is kind of like a high level, or a simple way of handling git. So flags are just a way to give extra information when you use a git command. Any other questions? Okay. Oh yeah, a couple things from the video. Git calls it main, not master now, so that's something to be aware of. And also private repositories are free. I believe the video said that they cost money. They do not anymore. So that's awesome. That's really nice. And yeah, and then this git status command, this one's my favorite command, because when I get confused about whether or not, can't remember if I added or committed or not, you can do git status and it'll kind of give you a sense of where you're at and what you were doing when you lose track of what you're doing, which I do sometimes. Yeah, so let's walk through a little bit. We're going to walk through kind of visually what's happening when you go through this. You don't need to understand Git like all the way down deep, right? There is so many things with software development, and you could spend a lifetime learning them all the way down to the bottom. But we don't have to learn all the way down to the bottom. You just want to understand it to the point that you can use it throughout this class. And as you use it, you'll get deeper and deeper understanding. But yeah, so let's walk through kind of what is happening when we do this. So in Git, there's repositories, right? A repository is kind of like in Google Docs, it'd be like a document. It's an app. It's like a piece that we want to kind of track. We have local and remote repositories, which just means local is like on your computer and remote is like on GitHub or something like GitHub. So we kind of work on our local repository. We make changes on our computer, and then we need to get those changes up to our remote repository, get those saved kind of in our remote repository so other people could pull it down and all that kind of stuff. And then a commit is kind of like a little snapshot of the code at a particular point. I think I put that on this one. Yeah, like in Google Docs, you kind of have that like version history, or in different things will have like a version history, right? You can jump back to what it looked like Tuesday at 3 p.m. or whatever. A commit kind of makes a little version history snapshot right there. So if something goes wrong, you could go back to that. And then also just sort of keeps track of what was happening when. Another way that gets used kind of like in the industry is like you're looking at a particular line of code and you don't understand why it's doing what it's doing. Git can tell you who last changed that line of code, and you can go talk to them and be like, what the freak is happening? So that's kind of another reason why Git is used so extensively, is because it kind of helps keep track of everything and who changed what. You know who to blame if something's wrong, which can be good. So let's kind of walk through this visually. So if this is, say, our online repository, this would be, this orange box would be the repository on GitHub, and this would be the one on your computer. So in order to kind of set this up, you need to make one on GitHub that's like kind of a spot to push things to. And then you kind of also make one on your computer that is sort of tracking the stuff you're doing on your computer, and then we'll connect the two together. So by default, when you make it on GitHub, it's going to call it main, and it's a branch, which we won't dig into branches, but you'll kind of see that word. If you want more info on branches, we're going to use them a bit, like in like 10 weeks or so. But for now, you don't need branches. Well, except the one branch. There's just one branch. But yeah, so this one is called main. This one is called master. So we run a command. So this git init created this local repository. And then we run a command to rename this one to main so that the two match. So this command right here renames master to main, and now the two match. That's what that command does. When you create a repository, it kind of shows you some of these commands too. And you kind of have this too to like kind of refer to of how to walk through this. So we change them both to main, but we need to connect them, and we can connect them using this command, git remote add origin, and then you put in the repository URL, which I'm going to walk through this. We're going to walk through it visually, and then we're going to walk through it doing it. Melissa, did you have a question?
I'm sorry, I don't have a question. I just have a quick comment.
Yeah.
Since I have a Mac, I don't even really know how Google Docs work. So I just wanted to let you know, when you refer to Google Docs, not everybody understands what you're talking about. So
Oh yeah.
I just want
okay.
to that to you.
Yeah. Have you ever used
I'm
like
not
an
trying to give you a
online
hard time or anything. I just wanted to let you know.
Have you ever used like an online collaboration software where you're working together? No.
Other than Git, no.
Okay. I mean, you can use Google Docs on a Mac, but yeah, that's fine. That's kind of the example I have. If you haven't done online collaboration, then I don't know that I have a good example of this. Will be your first time. It's great. Mark, did you have a question?
Yeah. It doesn't look like this, or does it look like this when you're doing it on the actual GitHub?
Like these pictures?
Is that what? Yeah.
No, these are just pictures I made.
Okay. Because I was looking at it over here and I was like, I don't know where this is.
Oh yeah. No, this is just a picture to kind of help you visually see what's happening when you're doing these commands, when you're running this stuff, like what is it actually doing there? These are just pictures I
Okay,
made though. It's
gotcha.
not not official. But yeah, so yes, let's walk through it as we go through the slides, and you can kind of see what's happening as we do it. So we're gonna make a repository. So here's GitHub, here's my GitHub, random stuff from other students and things. But so if we want to make a repository, we just do new repository, right? This is making an online repository. We will call this, what's our channel name? Let's see. We will call this 2021 615. We will make a little repository just for us. Playground. There we go. So this will just be a little repository that we can all push stuff to and play around and kind of get our hands dirty with Git. We will make it a private repository so no one can see it unless they're invited to it, and I will invite you guys all to it. So you can push whatever stuff. You can break the repository. We'll unbreak it if that happens. Yeah, so we'll create a repository here, do create repository. So that's kind of that's this bit right here. We created the repository through the website, and then we need to get a init, right? We need to kind of make a folder on our computer for this. So that's my other one. So if we come into, where are we? Okay, if we come into here, we can make a folder, new folder. There's a lot of different ways to kind of connect this up, but this one works for me. 2021 615. Playground. Okay. And then we can come into this folder, and we just need to open up Git Bash into this folder. So there's a couple different ways we can do that. We can just open Git Bash right here. We can also open it in Visual Studio Code and then open the terminal in Visual Studio Code, open up Git Bash in Visual Studio Code. And that's kind of my preferred way to do it. So I'm going to do it that way. So we'll do open with code, which will open up this folder in Visual Studio Code. You guys should have Visual Studio Code all installed. Yeah, so we're in this folder. It has nothing in it because we just made it. And we're going to open up the terminal. So we'll just do new terminal. And this is Git Bash. So you can pick which one you want to open. I opened Git Bash. I have it by default opening Git Bash in my Visual Studio Code when I open a terminal. I think normally by default it opens like PowerShell or something like that, depending on kind of what computer you're on. If you want to change your Visual Studio Code to open Git Bash by default, which is nice, this link down here at the end of the slideshow walks you through how to do that. So, and there's other links here too to help you out. But yeah, so we've opened up our Git Bash right here, and now we can run git init, and that will create a repository in this folder. So initialize empty Git repository in the spot. Yay, we have a repository. So we have now done, let's come back here. We've now done these two pieces where we created the repository online and we created it on our computer, and now we need to connect the two. We need to rename it because this one's called master. So if you look right here, this one is currently called master and we want it to be called main. So we'll just rename it really quick with this git branch dash uppercase M main, and that will rename it. So let's do, sorry, my microphone always gets in the way. Okay, git branch dash M main. And now we can see that the branch is called main. That's just a quick little housekeeping thing that you need to do. If you have it set up to be called master on your GitHub, then you don't have to do that, whatever. But yeah, now we want to connect the two. So we've got to go to our local repository and tell it what the remote repository is. We need to add the remote. We're calling it origin, and we're going to give it that. So, but in order to do this, we need to not do this one. This is just a dummy thing. We need to get our actual repository URL. So right here, it gives it to us. And you can see we're kind of following these steps right here, basically, is what we're doing. And similar to these ones too. But right here is my repository URL. I can get that, I can copy that. And then I can use that in here. So I can do is it git remote add or git add remote? Which one is it? Git remote add origin. Okay. Git remote add origin. Origin has two eyes, which is an easy one to miss. And then you can paste in the URL here. And now we have connected it. So if I do git status, it's kind of all set up on branch main, no commits yet. We can see it's kind of chugging along here. So we've made a repository, we've connected the two, but now we want to start adding things to it. So right now, these were two empty repositories with no commits in them, right? nothing had happened in them. But we can start adding code in, adding files in, and committing them. So these are kind of like commits. Say we added 3 different commits. Our kind of repository would be here. Those changes would be just on our local computer, and then later we can push them to our remote repository. So let's do that. So we're gonna add what I'm gonna have you guys do, prep for this. I'm gonna have you clone this repository, which I'll walk you through how to do. And then I'm gonna have you make a folder just with your name and then put some files in there. So we'll put a natalie.html file and a natalie.js file, and we can start putting some things in here. The last thing I'm going to do is create a readme file. Oh, that's the wrong spot. I'll have to move it. readme.md. Just to kind of set things up. Go away. Come on, out of here. It doesn't like. Come on. Let me move it. There we go. There we go. Okay. We're just going to create a readme file. Readme file just kind of has information about the repository, and I'm going to drop some instructions in there that you guys can refer to. But yeah, I'm going to have you guys create a folder with your name and put some files inside of it. And then we will commit that stuff. So we're making an HTML file here and a JS file here, and then we'll commit those things. I haven't put anything in it yet, but we'll just commit. So in order to kind of get a snapshot of it that we can then sort of push up, we have to add and commit. You kind of just do those two together. I just one after the other. So you do git add dot and git commit -m and then some message added Natalie folder and readme. We've committed those 2 things. So you can see 3 files changed, created all these things. It's kind of saying, yes, I noticed that, I'm tracking that. I'm ready to push those changes up to the online repository. So we've added, we've committed. This is saying we did it 3 times, but maybe we just did it once, right? And then we can push up to the online repository. So we can do this git push -u origin main, which will say, hey, push that up to the online repository. So we'll do git push -u origin main. It'll work. Come on. There we go. So it pushed it up. And now if we come over to our repository and refresh this, we can see we've got our files in here. So we've got the readme. Oh, I didn't put anything in it yet. Yeah. And we've got our Natalie folder and that kind of stuff. So this is the part that you guys are going to do. You're going to create these folders and you're going to commit, add commit, and push them up to kind of get a little practice there. Yeah, where are we? Yes. So we push it up there and now we can see that the changes are visible in both spots. So you get to control when your changes get pushed up to that online repository. If you're working together, you only really want to push it up once it's like working, right? You don't want to push up broken code. So that's kind of you kind of tend to commit when you've got like one piece of it working and maybe push it up when like the whole thing is working, kind of depending on, or the whole piece that you're working on is working, depending on what your goals are with Git. But yeah, but then obviously Git typically isn't used. I mean, it is used just with one person, but often you're using it collaboratively, right? So maybe someone else makes changes on their computer and then they push those changes up. So now the online repository is kind of farther along than yours, and you need to get those changes down. You need to see what other people did. So to do that, we do the git pull. So we can do git pull origin main. Obviously with this, there's no changes. Oh, I could make a change. Let's see. Let's put something in the README right here. You can just do this really quick. Let me see if I can just I can go to file. Let's see. Where's the spot where I can just really quick throw something in it? Guess there's no way. But right here, if someone else had changed it, I could do git pull origin main, and that would pull it down. See, it says it's already up to date. There was nothing to pull, but potentially there might be things to pull. Now, if you've done this git push -u origin main, once you've done that once with the -u, you don't have to put that origin main anymore. You can git pull and git push without putting that. So that's kind of what the -u does for you, is that once you do it once, it sort of sets things up for you. And now you can git pull and git push without needing to say that origin main after it. Let's see. Yeah, so that is kind of a quick overview of Git. Questions on that? Is that making some sense? It's kind of a bit that you just sort of get the hang of as you use it, and it is just confusing sometimes too. Any questions? Let's look real quick at GitHub, just making sure you're understanding that. Here it is. Yeah. So GitHub, you know, you have different repositories. I have a bunch of random ones from random classes and things, but you can have different repositories for different like little projects and things. Each one would be its own kind of app or whatever, each bit. And then inside of that, I'm trying to see, there's one from my other class. We can kind of see some of the things happening. Where is it? Oh, it might be here. Let's see if we can find it. Here it is. Okay, so here's the application that my other class worked on, and you can kind of see 34 commits. You can see that a bunch of people's commits, a bunch of people's things that they added are all pulled together into this one repository so that they could all work together on this CRUD application. But yeah, any questions on how to navigate GitHub, these commands we're using? Making some sense?
When you go through this, will you go like kind of step by step? Because like you went through that really fast and that's fine, but like I'm definitely gonna get lost if you're just like throwing us into.
Yeah. So the goal is I'm gonna have you guys do it in the class because I can step through it like 20 times, but until you type things on that keyboard, it's gonna be like, what? So
Yeah.
So I'm giving you guys like a lot of different resources. So you've got that video right from class, or from the videos tab. It has all the videos. Hopefully you guys watch that before class. So that walks you through kind of, it's like a slightly different workflow, but pretty similar. You guys have this to refer to. I'm also going to, let me see. I'm going to put in this README so you guys can refer to it. Kind of all the instructions of what we're going to do when we all jump in together. Ooh, let me, dang it.
Are we doing this in class tonight?
Yes. It's not like an assignment. You don't have to do it. We're just going to do it in class to kind of tease out different things that are not making sense and that kind of stuff. And I can help you guys on the fly. But yeah, so, let me drop that in here. So I'm going to drop in this README instructions that are going to walk through step by step. It looks kind of funny here, but it will look good when we put it up there. Git commit -m. So I'm made some changes. I am adding the changes. Then I am committing the changes. I'm saying updated the README. And then I'm going to pull to see if there's been any changes, which I know there hasn't, but maybe there was. And then I'm going to push my changes up there so that it shows up in the repository. So now I'm pushing that up. And now if we come back to our beautiful repository, where'd it go? Come on, my repositories. Here it is. Now, if we come in here, we can see that the README has got some instructions. So this walks through kind of step by step what we're going to do together. Now, this is an assignment. If you don't do it, that's fine. It's an opportunity for you to kind of walk through this, practice this, and kind of get help on the fly when things go wrong. I can help you debug it, pieces that we find, and or if there's pieces that aren't making sense, we can walk through those pieces. So it's kind of an opportunity for us to get our hands dirty. But yeah, so all those instructions are now in this README. And when I send you guys the link to the repository, you can refer to that. Abby, what questions do you have? Or one of the Abbies.
I don't know what is happening right now, but like I can't see your screen, but I'm seeing someone that is not in this class.
What?
Like just looking at this screen. Like I don't know what, should I just leave and come back?
Is anyone else seeing that? No?
It's just
Maybe.
lagging for me.
Is it lagging? Are you guys able to understand me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's lagging a little bit, like you're robo-copping a little bit, but it's not bad.
Okay. Sorry.
I have a question too. I'm really,
Yes.
really lost. Should I just go back? 'Cause I literally opened up the computer, like was able to open it up maybe 10 minutes before class because it was all messed up.
Yeah.
Should I go on and just rewatch, like watch the first like live class that we did?
Have you
download
watched?
everything?
Yeah. Have you watched the week 1 videos?
No, I just literally got on the computer, like was able to.
That's probably
get
why
Windows.
you're lost there. we lost
I'm
you.
really
So,
lost. So should
yeah,
I just
so-
do a back to back?
yeah, I mean, you can stick around. There's no reason you can't stick around, but this is recorded for you to rewatch this when you're kind of understanding it more. There was a class last week where we talked about kind of the structure of the class And we didn't talk about Git or anything like that this week. But you can watch that. There's a recording of last week's class if you're kind of feeling lost about how this class is set up. But basically, probably why you're feeling lost is because you didn't get a chance to watch the videos for this week before class. So in general, class is structured not around teaching you these concepts for the first time, but going over these concepts after you've watched the videos. That's kind of the purpose of class. So if you don't get a chance to watch the videos for class, definitely still come to class. But it is going to be like a preview instead of a review, right? Which could get a little confusing there. But I mean, you're welcome to stay, that'd be great. But if you're finding that you just like cannot absorb any of it, then you might need to watch those videos and kind of get oriented to what we're talking about before you maybe rewatch this recording. Okay.
Right, exactly. Okay, and then if I could do the videos before you guys are done, then I'll just get back on.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Yeah. We're here for another hour. But yeah, any other questions? Okay. If the RoboCop thing is going weird, I can get out and get back in. Just let me know. It'll just take a few minutes. Might break up the recording, which would be annoying, but there's probably a way to handle that. But yeah, just let me know because I want it to sound good. Sometimes internet stuff just happens. Usually my internet's good. It's the first time it's happened here at least. But let me know because I want to make sure you guys can understand me and can hear me. I would think too that in the recording, because it's on my computer, that any little bits you didn't quite hear that you'd be able to hear in the recording. That's what I would guess. But I want you to be able to understand me right now. So let me know if things are going weird. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Yeah, so what were we talking about? Yes. So we've got instructions here on kind of how to do this. I also have a couple other like links I'll give you guys to different just sort of step-by-step things on how to do this. Git is just confusing and it just takes some using it to get a sense of it. But in general, what you do is you make sure you have a local repository and an online repository that you connect them together. And then every time you sort of finish with your changes-ish, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but kind of keeping it really simple. Once you have those two connected, every time you make some changes, you add, commit, pull, and push. Those are kind of the 4 things you do each time. This doesn't have the pull part in it right here, but I think I have it in a different bit. But those are kind of the 4 bits you do each time you make changes. And that is a very simple way to use this that hopefully makes some sense. So we're going to talk about JavaScript. So let's see. We talked about Git. We're going to talk about JavaScript. We're going to talk about let versus const versus var because some of you had questions on that, and console.log and the semicolons and any other questions. But first we are going to jump in to Git, and hopefully you're free to do what you want, but you can clone down this repository that I just made, which means kind of get a copy of it on your computer. If you use kind of if you have a local and a remote repository, there's kind of different directions you might go with it. Like you might want to make files here and then put them up there, but you also might want to take files that are up here and get them down to your computer. And that's what cloning is. You might need to do that if you're changing computers and you need to get the code from one computer to another one. You might do that if you want to clone down a repository that you see to play around with it and have some fun with it. In general, I'll have like repositories that you guys can like refer to. Stuff we do in class will be in a repository of some sort, kind of depending on how I set this up. So you might want to clone that down to your computer to be able to mess with it and play around with it yourself. So we are going to clone a repository right now, whoever's up for it. So I will add all of you guys to this repository so that you can clone it down. But what you'll need to do, let's see, let me see. Yeah, so you'll need to just find a good spot on your computer and open up git bash there. And then you'll use this command, which we'll need to put in the other bits, the correct URL into this. So let me invite all you guys to this repository, and I'll let you guys get ready to clone this repository down. and then you'll create your own folders and we can kind of see everyone's folder show up in our beautiful class repository all together. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a bit. Let me see. Where is that? Here it is. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a little bit and let you guys kind of get ready, and I will invite all of you, and then you should be able to close it down. So I will, I will post this link on the Slack. You will probably need to be signed into GitHub and have that. Oh, actually, so when I invite you to the class repository, you'll probably have to go to your email and accept that in order to have access to this repository. Now, this sort of workflow for the next while, you guys will be able to work independently on repositories for your assignments, but at some point you guys will need to work on a team project. So this is kind of also prepping you towards that, where you'll need to be able to clone and work on a repository together. So we'll just kind of get your feet, jump you right into the deep end right now. Oh, there is not closed captioning available, Melissa. Sorry. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how I would do that. Sorry. But yeah, so I will invite all of you guys and go to your emails and accept that invitation, please. I mean, you don't have to. So for the next few minutes, I'll be back in a few minutes and let you guys all go to your emails, accept the invitations, and I will post the link to the repository. Well, I guess if you accept the invitations, you'll probably be able to see it. So accept the invitations, go to the repository, and we will clone this thing down. So see you guys in a few minutes. Oh, why was recording paused? That was weird. So you should have all gotten an invitation to the repository. If you didn't, in the next few minutes or so, if like no emails showing up or anything like that, or when you go to GitHub, you're not seeing that, let me know. But you should all be invited to the repository. Let me share my screen again. You should all be invited to the repository. Oh, and if you're wondering, the way to invite people to a repository is through this manage access tab in settings, manage access. If for some reason you're wanting to add people to a repository or things like that, that is how you add people to the repository. So you should all be invited to this repository. You should be able to pull, push, all that stuff, and you should be able to clone it. So if you go to the main page of the repository, you should see this README that gives you kind of the steps that you need to do in order to do it. So you don't need to run that git init because we're just going to clone down the whole repository. It's just going to make a copy for you. So you should just be able to run this command here, and it should pull down the whole repository with my beautiful Natalie folder. And then we're going to go into there and we're going to make some HTML and JavaScript. So I'm actually going to walk through this part right now, just to give you guys a sense of how to do this while you guys are getting in there and cloning. If you have, if you run into any problems as you're cloning it, interrupt me, let me know, and we'll dig into that and see what's happening there. Melissa,
Yep.
what's up?
So yeah.
It says page not found, error 404.
Ooh, are you
And,
logged into GitHub?
No.
Where are you trying to go? Are you trying to go right here?
No, I clicked on your invitation in the email.
And I
Oh,
haven't
the
received
email.
the email.
You haven't received the email? Let me check. Okay, so settings, manage access. So is this yours, Linda? LA for Lizzie?
It's la.for. Those look like spaces. Oh, for GitHub. Oh, okay. I thought you said it was coming in email. My bad.
Well, GitHub should send you an email. So whatever email you set up with GitHub is where the email should go. You might also be able to go to GitHub. It looks like a lot of you have accepted it. But yeah, you should be able to, I think going to GitHub, you might get like a little notification right here that you could then accept it from there, but it probably also will go to your email. But yeah, I sent it to this GitHub account. So if that's the right GitHub account, should show up.
That's the one I set up for the course.
So Melissa, you're still getting that 404. So if you log into GitHub, are you logged into GitHub?
No.
So you need to log into GitHub in order to access that repository because it's private. So I've invited you to
Okay.
it, but only if you're logged in will you be able to see it. So let me know if you still have problems after you log in. Any other problems anyone's having with seeing the repository, getting access to it? Looks like a bunch of you have accepted the invitation. Guys good?
So I have a question.
Yeah.
To clone it, do we just copy it and save it and then open it in VS Code, or do we?
To clone it, you'll need to run this command in a command line like git bash in wherever you want that folder to show up. This will create a folder for you. I can do it right now. We can watch me do it. So I'll just make another one. Yeah. So I'll just delete this guy. I've got to open in Visual Studio Code. Okay, I will close it. Then I will delete this guy. Okay, we'll delete this guy and I will clone it down. So I say I want to put it in here in my Promineo folder, whatever. It's going to create a folder for me. So I'm just going to git bash here somewhere where I can type it. You could open this. This is probably the easiest way to do it for this is to just open git bash there. Do you guys have that in your context menu? Do you see git bash here when you do this? Maybe.
Which
Yes.
So if you right click, can you see this git bash here option? Is there anyone that can't, that needs help figuring out how to get that?
got it.
Okay, if you have git installed, hopefully that should be showing up. It's a really nice little context menu thing here. So then if I do this, it will, oh, it's opening it up over there. Come on. If I do this, it will open up git bash in that folder. So you can see it's pointed to my Promineo folder. And now I can clone the repository right here. So to clone a repository, you do the git clone command, and then you give it the URL of the repository you want to clone. This is the correct URL, I believe, right there. So you could just copy this whole line, but you can also get it like from this code button. If you click on the code button, you can copy it right here. Again, I have a lot of resources that sort of walk through a bunch of these things. Oh, let me see, so that you're aware of it. Not exactly the cloning of it, but where is it? This guy kind of walks through some of these pieces here. Yeah, so walks through creating. What's up?
Sorry, I'm getting like a money sign. Do you put it next to that?
Yes. That
Yeah,
money
so-
sign is kind of just saying, hey, this is the spot to type stuff. It's just a thing
Got it.
git bash does. But this walks you through a lot of things, a lot of these pieces. If you need some references and stuff like that, I've got lots of references for when you're doing this later. But I'm here at Promineo, so I can do git clone, and then I'm just going to put in the repository. So I'll copy this repository, or you can just copy that whole line, but it's good to type it out. And then I can just paste that in. You have to like right click and do paste. If you try to do Control V, it'll do weird things because git bash is annoying. But we can paste that in. Now it says it's cloning, and it's going to take a little while. It's going to pull everything down. If it's a big repository, it'll take a long time. But we can see that now I have this 2021-615 playground folder, and it has that stuff from the Git repository pulled into it. That's where you want to get to. Anyone having trouble getting to this point?
Hey, I'm working on the Mac for the moment, and like I don't think Mac works with Git bash.
It does, I believe. What have you been using Git at all?
Yeah, I've been using it like on my PC, but I don't have my PC with me right now.
Yeah, so I believe Mac has Git bash. It just might not have that context menu. So you might have to go into wherever, I'm not a Mac expert, sorry. You might have to go into wherever it has all your programs, find Git bash, and then CD and get Git bash to the correct folder that you want it to be into, and then you can run that Git clone. But you should have Git bash on a Mac. This is, you can look up, wait, let me see. Maybe, I'm pretty sure Git bash is on Mac.
There's a terminal on Mac. It's not.
You could
Git
use a
bash,
different
it's-
terminal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Git desktop runs. GitHub desktop runs on the Mac.
Yes, but we
Git
do
bash
want to
does
try to be
not.
doing it. Git bash does not. Okay, so you might want to use
Yeah,
a different command line then. GitHub.
Yeah,
GitHub desktop is kind of like a graphical user interface. I've had students use that, and things have gone a little weird sometimes. So it is really good if you can get comfortable using the command line. You'll just have to use a different command line than git bash. Whatever command line is with Mac. Mac command line. What is it called? Mac OS command line? I don't know. There's a program called Terminal. You're going to want to open that up,
Terminal.
CD over to whatever folder you want to clone into, and run that git clone command from the terminal. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up?
Once you do the git clone and then you paste the link or whatever, it gives you like a whole bunch of stuff. What do you do after that?
Can you open up that, like when you look at that folder now, are you seeing the files and things? So you ran it, like I ran it from this Promineo folder,
No.
and now I can see I've got a 2021-615 playground folder. Do you have that?
No. All right, I'll try it one more time.
You can share your screen too, because other people run into the same thing. So people can share their screen. This is what we want. We want to tease out all the weird bits that happen when you're trying to use Git for the first time, and we'll answer them and get it working for you.
Check.
But yeah, the goal is to have this folder show up on your computer so that we can then open up Visual Studio Code into this folder and start making changes, typing stuff, doing things. Any other questions? Oh yeah, Mark,
Are we
what?
supposed to have a fold, like a new folder made? Because that's what I did for this, like my own folder, but I don't know, it didn't.
Yeah, do you want to share your screen? Let's see what's happening. Share your screen, and then I can tell what's happening and help sort it out. We want to kind of find all the weird snags while using Git as soon as we can to help smooth the way as you guys go in this class. Oh yeah, and Melissa's having the same problem, so this is perfect. We'll dig into it.
Okay, so.
Oh, it's the Mac problem. Do we have a couple people on Macs?
I'm not on a Mac.
You're not on a Mac. Okay. Oh, let me stop.
And
Are you also on a Mac?
Yeah, and
Let
I've got
me
repository not found.
Oh, you got repository not found.
Yeah.
1 second. Am I still sharing my screen? No, we're good.
This
Okay.
is my. I'll
Okay.
stop sharing.
No, you're good. I wanted to see your screen. Share it again. Sorry. I was just making sure I wasn't like sharing two screens at the same time. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so are you gonna make the folder right here? So you want to open up Git Bash right here. Awesome. Okay, so you're in GitHub practice VS Code. Is that the folder? Okay.
Yeah.
So have you opened up that folder and see if it showed up in there?
Yeah, it wasn't. There was nothing in there.
That's okay. GitHub practice. Okay. Okay, go back out. Okay. We're opening up Git Bash right there. Okay, and now we're doing git clone. And then we need to space, and then we paste in that URL. github.com. Okay, try that. Enter. Cloning into, that's a good sign. Oh, it needs you to sign in. You will need to sign in. So you need to click that sign in with your browser button and sign into GitHub, because it will not work for you to connect to stuff on GitHub if you're not signed in through Git Bash or whatever you're using to kind of connect there.
I was signed in already. I don't know why I'm signed in.
You
on a
might have
different spot, I
to,
guess.
yeah, you might have been signed in a slightly different spot, but hopefully it looks like it's working though. It looks like if you sign in that it should clone it all down. Yeah, that should, you need that Git credentials manager or whatever. Authentication successful. Yay. Let's see. I think
Cool. This didn't happen
working?
before.
That it's still saying the cloning into, like it hasn't finished yet. Oh, there we go. There we go. I think you have it now. So you should, yep, you've got the folder. So you should be able to work from there. So just right there, if you like right click and do open with code, if you have Visual Studio Code installed, not on that exact file, like just in the folder. Yeah. Gotcha. And do, oh, you don't have an open with code. Okay, well, you can just go to Visual Studio Code and open up this folder in Visual Studio Code.
Okay, cool.
So those of you with Macs, are you still having trouble figuring out how to do the Macs? Have you been able to clone it? Yes, you're good? You've been able to clone it in? No, Melissa, you need help? Okay. Again, I don't have a Mac, haven't used a Mac. I am positive you can use Git with Macs because I know plenty of people that have. If you're having a lot of trouble, this is awesome. We're finding it now, and I can connect you with someone who has used Git on a Mac. They know exactly how it works. But here is my sort of guess about what this would look like to do on a Mac. You would just, again, I'm on Windows, so it's Windows thing, but you would open up your terminal. Oh, I can't open it up on the screen I'm sharing. Oh, there we go. Wait, there we go. You'd open up your terminal, like Windows has command prompt. I think you have one called terminal, and then you would just need to CD and get into, oh, where is it? Open it over here. Come on. Where'd you go? Too many things. Open. Nope. Oh, where did it go? Come on.
Going on the end.
Oh, I see it.
The
Wait.
black screen.
I know. It's just, it's on my other screen and it didn't want to come over here. Here we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. So I've got my command prompt, and then from here, I would just CD over, what is it, like desktop? I'm trying to remember where I have my Promineo folder. What is it? I think I have to go into OneDrive. Geez, friggin' sometimes. Yeah, so you just CD over until you get to the folder that you want to do it in. CD Promineo. Now I'm in that folder. dir just lists the things that are in the folder. I think that was in the video. So this is where I want to clone it, and then you could run that git clone from here, I believe, depending on how your Mac is set up. You should be able to run it. Once you're in the folder you want to do it in, you should be able to git clone and then put the URL right here. And hopefully that'll work. If it doesn't, we'll connect you with people that know how to do Git just right on a Mac, because I am not a Mac expert. But yeah, any other questions? Where were we? Have you guys been able to clone that? Okay, we're gonna move forward, but always, as always, you can interrupt. We'll answer questions and stuff like that. This class is a great time to and also too, obviously you have mentors, you have office hours, you can post questions on Slack. If you're not getting this stuff, there's lots of opportunities to get it. It's just one of the opportunities to help you get it. So yeah, now you want to open that folder in Visual Studio Code. So I don't think I've done that yet. So let's find. So this is that 2021 615 playground. I'm just going to do open with code because I have that in my context menu. If you don't, you would just open up Visual Studio Code and tell it to open up that folder. So you do file, open folder, and go find that folder, which, man, I have to find every time. Where the freak did I put that thing? Yeah, just find that folder and open that up, select folder, and then you should have that folder open in your Visual Studio Code, and you should be able to see this stuff. From here, we're going to start adding in some files. So you're going to create a folder with your name in this folder. And then now you can put really whatever you want in this folder. It's going to be your own folder in our repository. You can put whatever, but you're going to want to make some HTML file, it's gibberish, and some JavaScript file. So a file that ends in .html and a file that ends in .js. Those are two pieces that we're going to need. Probably don't call them this. Probably call them something else like index or your name or something like that. But that's what you'll want to make in this folder. So I have my Natalie folder and I made natalie.html and natalie.js. Any questions on getting to this point? Anyone stuck kind of getting, you guys able to, you want to do thumbs up if you're good? You got the folder on your computer, open in Visual Studio Code. Awesome. I know some of you don't have video, so I can't see, but I'm happy to see some thumbs up. That's good. It's good signs. But also if you're having issues, this is a great time to tease them out. But yeah, awesome. Awesome. Thanks for the thumbs up. But yeah, so now we just need to make an HTML file that will allow us to run our JavaScript. Now, just with the way Promineo has this set up, we don't learn HTML for like 6 weeks. Just kind of the way it's set up. So here is kind of, this should work in your Visual Studio Code. If it doesn't, you can type it in by hand, but this is a potential shortcut to getting the HTML in that you need. We just need some basic HTML code. So let me know if it doesn't work. Depending on how you have your Visual Studio Code set up, it should. Oh, I'm in the JS. You go to the .html, you do a exclamation point. Oh, let's see if that works. Exclamation point and hit enter. And it should fill in with kind of a boilerplate, just basic HTML page that we can start working off of. Oh, did I type a thing?
I think it's if you do doc.
What?
I think it does the same thing if you do doc and then press enter.
Yeah, I believe so. Let's see, doc. Yeah. Yeah. Same thing. Yeah. So that will just really quickly let you get some HTML in. You don't have to understand this HTML. It's just going to work for us, do what we need to do. And then all you need to do, again, this is in the instructions, is add this line, which right here for your source, you just put whatever the name of your JavaScript file is. So this is a way that we can really quickly get our JavaScript to run. When you're playing around with JavaScript, this should work. Just create an HTML file, do the doc enter or the exclamation point enter, and then drop in. This connects your JavaScript file to your HTML file. So if we drop this in here, and then where it says your JS file.js, mine is called natalie.js. So we do this. Make sure that these are in the same folder. Make sure these are inside. You can kind of see here. I can tell that these are inside this folder because when I collapse this folder, they go away. So these should be inside that folder together in here. Then this will connect my JavaScript to my HTML file. So that's kind of where we want to get to, is your JavaScript is connected to your HTML file. And then we're going to try committing that and pushing that up and see if we can see all you guys' beautiful folders and HTML and JavaScript files. Any questions on that? Is that working for people? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, Brendan. Did I say it right?
Yeah. How did you get to adding the file again?
Oh, yes. Great question. Yeah. So to add the file, you do this button right here, new file. So like select the folder you want to create it in and then push this new file button and you see I can make a file right here. Does that make sense? To make a folder, it's this button. This would make a folder in wherever I'm telling it to make it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
How do you know for sure that it's connected to the JavaScript and the HTML?
The HTML and JavaScript are connected. When we put something in it and run it, you'll be able to tell.
Sure.
So probably, probably that's the point at which it'll be real clear. Any other questions? Okay. This is working, guys. It's working. Okay. Let's try committing our changes. This is the moment, right? Let's see what happens now. So we're gonna do 6, 7, and 8, these 3 steps. That should hopefully get all your guys' changes up to the repository. So you'll need to git add dot. So one way to do this that makes it really easy is to just open up a terminal in Visual Studio Code. So you can do terminal, new terminal. There's also this like shortcut that you can use. If we open up a terminal here, you can pick git bash, but it should work from any of them. And then from here, we can add and commit our files. So you can see this one turned yellow because I changed it. I made some changes there. If I do git status, it'll tell me, hey, you have changed natalie.html. So we need to add it first. That says, hey, I want you to track all these things. I want you to pay attention to this. So we do git add dot. Oh, it's like way down here. We want git add dot, and now if we do git status, we will see that it's turned green. That's a good sign. That means you've added it. Anything that's red needs to be added, and things that are green still need to be committed. You can see right here, changes to be committed. Before it said changes not staged for commit. That means we needed to add. Now it says changes to be committed, so we have added. Now we are going to commit our changes. So git commit -m and then put some message, just like a short one. Sorry, my microphone. Added HTML to natalie.html. I don't know, whatever. And now we've committed it. So now if we do git status, we can see it says nothing to commit, working tree clean. That means you're all up to date. You're all ready to push. Questions on getting to this point? We're running tighter on time, but I think it's working out. So that's running these two commands is what should get you to that point. And then when you do git status, you should see working tree clean, all that stuff. Any questions? Bits that are going wrong? We good? Okay. Then you will want to do this, git pull origin main. That will just see if anyone else has made changes, which hopefully people have, it should pull down their changes. Now you're going to want to make sure that your code is in its own folder, or we might have some merge conflicts, which we can deal with. But you can run this line of code to pull down any changes that anyone else has pushed up. So you can do git pull origin main, and it says, oh, I'm thinking about it. Oh, and it pulls some things down. Looks like we got Jennifer's that it pulled down and things like that. So now I can see that I am seeing Jennifer's folder. Look at that. So you can pull down other people's changes and then you can push up your own. So if we do git push -u origin main, your changes should show up in there. Git push -u origin main. So now my change where I added stuff. Oh, Jennifer, look at this. This is amazing. Look at all the stuff you added. Now my .html stuff, the changes that I made should now be set up there. So now if I'm git status, everything is pushed up and other people can now pull down my changes. Questions on doing that? Is that working for people?
Not really.
Not really?
Yeah, it doesn't look like yours.
Is it not doing it? Do you want to share your screen? Let's see what's happening. I can stop my sharing.
When I click terminal, it doesn't show up with Git.
What do you mean it doesn't show up with Git?
With your certain version of Git, when I click the new terminal,
it doesn't have git bash as an option?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have Git installed? Are you on a Mac?
No, I'm on Windows.
Do you have Git installed? Have you been able to run those Git commands? It's just git bash isn't showing up as an option? Interesting.
Yeah, for some reason. I'm not sure.
So you can open up git bash like outside of Visual Studio Code?
Yep.
But you just can't open
the same
up
thing? I can
in.
just do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you could just open up git bash just in this folder and you can run all those commands from there.
Cool.
But yeah. I can also help you figure out why git bash isn't showing up. Not there. Ooh. Okay. Any other questions? Mark, were you going to share your screen?
Sure. Hold on.
Yeah. It's 5:10. We might want to jump over to talking JavaScript stuff.
Do I just
I'd
rather add
yeah, well let me see. Yeah, so okay, so you are inside the Natalie folder. You don't want to be inside the Natalie folder. That's your problem. Do CD. Yeah, I think you might have opened up the terminal. Oh, that is interesting. Oh, okay, wait, did you? Oh, so it looks like you opened up Visual Studio Code inside the Natalie folder. You want to open it up inside that 2021 615 playground folder. So go to like File, Open Folder, and switch which folder you're in. That's your problem there. And if you open it up in that 2021 615 folder, and you'll need to move your folder probably out of mine. But just go File, Open Folder, and change what folder you have open in Visual Studio Code. That should fix it. Because if you don't have your like top level local repository folder open, yeah, so do that and do select folder. And just open up that whole folder. There you go. So now you're gonna want to move your folder out of mine, probably. Or you can be in mine, it's fine, we'll share. But yeah, then you should be able to run those commands from your terminal now that you're set up in the correct folder.
I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, I stopped you sharing. But yeah, so we've got about 20 minutes left. So I'm going to jump over to some of the JavaScript questions that you guys had. We didn't dig as deep into JavaScript this time because the Git stuff takes a lot, but getting you guys set up on this seemed important. And also, I am always free to answer JavaScript questions over Slack too. So I wanted to show you this that we need to do kind of in person, and we'll for sure talk about the JavaScript stuff. And we're gonna go deeper. It's just very thin layer of what we're talking JavaScript this week, and we're gonna go kind of more deep in next week. It'll be just pure JavaScript. So a couple questions that you guys had, semicolons. So let's actually, am I sharing my screen? Let me share my screen. There we go. Okay. So I've got my JavaScript connected to my HTML, right? And now I can start typing some JavaScript in here. So one of the questions that people had was about semicolons, right? We also had a question about var, let, and const, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. So if I'm making a variable, let, I don't know, favorite color equal green, whatever. It's not my favorite color. I don't know why I typed that, but it's red. What the heck? But yeah, so at the end of each line, we put a semicolon. I think the videos talked about like it's like a period on the end of the sentence, but JavaScript is not super picky. JavaScript is kind of, I don't know, it's like a really chill language. Very different than other languages that are a lot more like, got to do everything just right. In JavaScript, if I leave this off, nothing really bad will happen a lot of the time. A lot of the time, nothing bad will happen. Sometimes it can cause issues because JavaScript can get confused if you were done or not, basically. It's kind of like, it's a lot like putting or not putting a period when you're typing like a text message, right? Sometimes it's fine, people get it, but then sometimes you can have weird things happen when you're like, what are they saying? You know, like where they start to run together or something. It can be a lot like that in JavaScript, but in general, I would really recommend putting the semicolons. Then you don't run into any weird bugs. It sort of protects you from weird things going wrong. But it is true that if you leave it off, nothing will really happen. Your computer won't explode. Nothing will go wrong there. But yeah, does that make sense to everyone? Any questions on that or anything? Okay.
No.
Let's talk let versus const versus var. So I believe the videos taught you var and then used let a lot. So it's a little weird how it did that. But basically var is the old way of saying that you want to make a variable. It's kind of outdated around like 2015, 2016-ish. New ways came in and var kind of became the old way to do things. So I would recommend not using var. And the new way is basically let. There are differences, and if you really want to dig into this, I believe you guys have access to all the materials. So week 4 of Intro to JavaScript has a video on var versus let versus const. I didn't watch the video recently, so I'm not sure if it's like gets super crazy in there where it gets confusing. But if you're really wanting to understand what's happening there, in week 4, we'll really dig into let versus const. But basically, when you see var, think let, and when you see let, think var. They are different, but they're basically the same. Const is kind of a special type of variable maker. It's kind of its own little special thing that handles if you want the variable to not be able to be changed. So const says, I do not want to change this variable. We'll talk about this again in week 4. it's what I like to say is like a let variable is like if you create a box and you leave the box open and you can put stuff in it, take stuff out of it, that kind of stuff. A const variable is a box that you create that you tape closed. So you can't take things in and out of it anymore. It is now taped closed. It's just holding whatever you put in it when you first made it, basically. But again, we'll talk about that in week 4. And in general, you can use var or let right here. Let is the more up-to-date one. I would get in the habit of using let. But obviously the videos taught you var, and var does work. It does do its thing. But yeah, so that is let versus const versus var. Questions on that? That makes sense. Okay. I think the last question that people sent me was about console.log. So let's in fact use this. So right here, we're making a variable, favorite color. We're setting it to be red. A variable is like a little bucket or a box. It's got a name and you can put stuff in it. You can take stuff out of it. We can be like, wait, maybe I set it to be green. And then I'm like, what? That's not my favorite color. And then I can change it. Favorite color equals red. So you can change what's in the box. You can set it to be a number if you want, favorite color equals 5. You've misunderstood the question. But you can set kind of whatever thing you want to go in this box. It's just a generic box that you gave a name. So this right here, JavaScript says this needs to be let. This right here, this needs to be an equal sign. But right here, this is a name that you pick. And right here, this is a value that you picked, right? If we're doing a string, like some text, it needs to have quotation marks around it and numbers don't, right? But we can do kind of lots of different things with this. And then of course we can also console.log it out, favorite color. It's gonna log out 5. So let's come back to our .html. I believe they have you use like a open in browser. I always use open with live server. That's a different extension. But you can use whatever you need to get that opened up. But now if we open up our console, okay, we can see the 5. Where's my console? There we go. There's my console. Ignore that. That's just, but we can see that it's console.logging that 5 out. And the reason we use console.log right now instead of showing it right here is purely because you guys haven't learned how to do that yet. Showing content over here in the HTML is just a lot more complicated, and we will not learn that until about like week 10. So it's gonna I think it's somewhere around week 10, somewhere in that range. We'll learn how to show things in the HTML. You have to learn HTML first, and you have to learn a lot of JavaScript fundamentals first before we get there. Next week, we'll learn how to like pop up alert boxes and prompt boxes and things, which will give us more options on how to show things and stuff like that. But basically right now, showing things in the console is kind of the easiest way to just see what's happening real quick. The console is a developer tool. You would never use it. You would never console.log something in like a production legit app. It's not a way to show information to the user. It's purely a way to show information to yourself while you're doing stuff to kind of test if it's working and that kind of stuff. It's for developers by developers to just check things. I think in Slack's console, or maybe in their code, I think they have like hidden little gems in there. You'll see that sometimes if you open up like the console on like I want to say it's in Slack. I don't even remember. Maybe it's on a different one where it's like, maybe it's in sources. No, wait, elements. I'm not seeing it, but I've seen ones where they'll like put a little message like, hey, do you want to work for us? Because they know only developers look in here. Wow, there's many things in here. But yeah, so that's kind of the console, and that's why we use console.log. Is just because we haven't learned better stuff yet. I mean, console.log serves its purpose. It's helpful. Where was I? It's helpful while you're like coding things, but you would never use it like in a production environment. Any other questions?
So it's mainly to like,
sorry,
it's
say
mainly
it again?
to like debug or stuff like that.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. That is what it's for. So it's a great thing to use while you're learning, to just like see what you're doing there, see what's happening. But yeah, it's just for debugging and stuff. Any other questions, guys? I know we kind of just did some real basic stuff, just doing some variables. You guys learned a little bit like about adding things together, favorite color plus 5, and then show 10, which why does favorite color have a number in it? Let's get into that. But you can add strings together, right? You could say my favorite color is, and then do plus and your favorite color, and you can console.log that whole thing out. And then over here, we can see my favorite color is red, and it filled it in. So that's kind of the stuff you guys have learned this week. And you've got like kind of homework assignments where you're doing a couple different things. Hopefully you were able to push this up. And once you, I don't know, get some stuff in here, you can get add, get commit, added JS, I don't know, and get pull. I'll pull down all your guys' stuff. Woohoo! I got Phil's folder inside my folder. It's nice. I love it. And get push. And it should push up my changes up to the repository. But yeah, guys, we have 10 minutes left. I can help you guys with the Git stuff if you're kind of running into sticky bits there. If you have any other questions about kind of the JavaScript you guys have learned so far, we can talk about that. As always, our classes are open. There's no set things we have to do. I prep stuff for us to do, right? But I want to do whatever is going to help you the most as you're going to this class. That's what we did Git because it's a confusing bit, and I want to help you guys with that. But each week we can dig into whatever's going to help you guys. We can do examples together. I can live code a lot. I'll do a lot of live coding. This week it was kind of interactive. Next week I'll probably just do a lot of live coding where I'm just coding and you guys are watching and asking questions and things like that. We can kind of code together and stuff. But yeah, it's really open. Or I can just talk at you, you know. James, what's your question?
All right. So with the video, they were talking about bank accounts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say like you make the variable like my bank account $100, and then you make a like a withdrawal or something where it's like -$5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Will the original variable permanently be changed to like $95 instead of the 100?
Yes.
Or would
yes.
it be
So,
like a completely different thing?
no, so if I do my bank account equals 95 or whatever, then if I log out my bank account, it's going to say 95. Once I do this, so when you run code, it's just going to run. We'll learn some fancier bits, but typically it's just going to run each line of code. And as each thing's happen, it's going to change it. So this line of code right here will change this my bank account variable. It will be 95. This is a comment. Sorry, guys. Have you seen comments? But it's basically as if we could do these two lines, and these two lines would be the same thing as doing let my bank account equal 95. Once you change what's in a variable, it is changed. And that is what is in that box now. Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Do you have another question?
Nope.
We can also do, let my bank account equals 100, and then we can do my bank account equals my bank account minus 5 or something. Like we spent $5, and this would send, it would be like, okay, my bank account is 100 minus 5 is 95. It would kind of fill this in, right? So it'd say this is 100 minus 5 is 95. So it set my bank account to be 95. That's kind of what it's doing in the background there. And when you console log it out, you would get 95. Questions on that?
Thank you.
Make sense? Any other questions you guys have? Always too, if you have like weird questions or bits you just want a little bit of help on without like being in the middle of class when you do it, I always like stay after, you can always stay after and ask me a question and I'll help with whatever. I love it. And also message me on Slack and stuff like that, of course, and mentors. You have many resources available to you. Yeah, guys, was everyone able to, I see Phil's and I see Jennifer's, I don't see anyone else's. Were people able to push their code up? Is there different things you ran into that you want help on how to get your code up there? You can tell that it worked if you go to the repository and you can see your folder. That's the sign that works. Yeah, we got Abby's, we got Jennifer's, and I think Phil's is inside of mine. I guess you made the folder inside of mine. I could move it out.
Yeah, why is mine inside? Yeah, why is it like that?
You must have created it inside. So like right here, if I'm trying to make a folder just out here, but I'm clicked on the Natalie folder, it's gonna make it inside of Natalie. So I've got to click out of the Natalie folder, and then I can make a folder outside of Natalie. But it's fine. Come on over to my folder. It's cozy. But yeah, I can move it out, and then I can, if I move this out, and then I can like git add, git commit, and move your folder. Moved Phil's. You spell it with 2 L's or 1? Phil's folder. Git pull. Let's see if I'm getting anyone else's. Yeah, I got Abby's, and then git push. I can push up the change that I made where I moved Phil's folder. That should now show up like that on here. There we go. Yep, we can see Phil's. So yeah, does anyone have any questions on getting your folder to show up here? Getting that committed and all that stuff? Yeah, Mark, what's up?
I feel like I did everything that it said to do, and it's not working.
Ooh, run git status. What does it tell you? Git status is my go-to, like figure out what the freak happened.
Your branch is up to date with origin main. Changes to be committed.
Working tree clean. Does it say
So
nothing to commit, working tree clean?
it says, I don't see that. It just says new file, staged file to unstaged, new file.
Oh yeah, so it sounds like you
Untracked
might
file.
have some things added, but not fully committed and pushed and all that stuff. So we can walk through this. It's 5:25. Doesn't seem like anyone else has any other questions. And I know not all of you have gotten your stuff pushed up. So do you want to, let's see, stop sharing my screen. Do you want to share your screen, Mark? And we'll kind of walk through again how to do the git add, git commit, all that stuff in these last few minutes. But yeah, guys, hopefully this has helped you get your sea legs with Git a little bit, get a sense of how to use Git. Oh, are we seeing? There we go. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, okay. Did you push? Let's see. Okay. So, yeah, so right there where you did that git status, it said that some of changes to be committed, those are the files that got added, and then untracked files, those are files that are not added.
Okay.
It looks like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so it's saying you have some files inside of my folder, inside the Natalie folder. See that new file, Natalie, Mark Kavitsky, index.html. Those ones got added, but not committed. And then the Mark folder has not been added. So I would run git add dot. That will add everything. Just make sure everything is added. The dot just says it all. I just want to add it all. Don't make me say all. So git add space dot. Space dot, that adds all of it. So now if you do git status, you should see only green things.
Git status.
Yep, so we've got only green things, but they say changes to be committed. They have not been committed. So let's do git commit -m, and then you get the you put the message. Git commit space -m. You know, you're typing while people are walking. Oh, sorry, dash, not slash.
Oh, my bad. No.
Git commit space -m. So no space between the dash and the m. This is the thing you guys will learn in programming. Programming is so picky about things being just right. It's real annoying. Now, we didn't quite do it all the way. So git commit -m, and then you need to put a message on the end there. So git commit space -m, and then space, and now in quotation marks, put some message like Mark's folder. I don't know, whatever. And the end quotation mark. There you go. Now enter on that. There we go. Ooh, it looks like you don't have your identity. Okay, scroll up a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
Author identity unknown. Okay, so you might have to run this. We can dig into this after class. Let me see what time it is. I can't see the time. Okay, 5:28. Okay, we can dig into how to fix this bit. I don't know if anyone other of you have run into this. This can happen sometimes. You'll just need to set this up with Git globally. It freaks out a little bit. So if anyone else has had this problem too, you can stay after and we'll fix this.
That's
yeah,
what
guys. Was that doing that for you too, Brendan?
That's what I was trying to explain when I did like the AM. That's what happened to me.
Oh, it showed you that? Interesting. Yeah. Again, I don't think that was because of the -a. I still haven't looked up what -a is. I'll do that. But yeah, if you want to stay after class, for anyone who's run into this, I'll walk through how to fix it. It kind of tells you how to do it, but I'll walk through it. But yeah, guys, that was class this week. Next week will be a little less chaotic. We won't do as much like interactive Git stuff, but I wanted to throw you guys in there with the Git and give you a chance to kind of practice it right there, run into some of the issues right there so I can just help you as it's going. And hopefully you'll be set up to do the assignment this week where it needs to be on GitHub. I'm trying to remember exactly how the assignment works. I don't grade the assignments. I don't handle any of that stuff. So if you do have like things with how you're doing assignments or something like that, you can definitely message me, but also you can message Brendan. He handles kind of that stuff. He's kind of over that bit. I'm not helpful on like how assignments are graded or all that kind of stuff, but I can help you if you run into issues on it. But yeah, guys, that was class this week. Next week will be a bit more chill, be a lot more of just me talking. So you're welcome. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful, and I will see you guys next week. Good luck on your assignments and things. Make sure you have everything turned in. Was it like Saturday night at midnight, I think is when everything's due. And I will see you guys next week. And anyone who wants to stay after to follow the saga of helping Mark get working, you're welcome to stay. But yeah, have a great night, guys. See you next week. Bye.
See
And
you
as
guys.
always, this is available. The recording will be available for everyone. But yeah, Mark, do you want to share your screen and let's detangle this? Get likes to tangle things up.
All right.
Okay. So basically it says that you need to tell Git who you are. Git is just, it's weird that the logging in didn't do that. I think because you're in PowerShell instead of Git Bash. I think that's why it's asking you to do this. But let's just do it and let's let it work. So it's giving you the command that you need to run: git config -- global user.email, and then your email there. Do you see how it's telling you that? You could also switch over to Git Bash, and that might solve this problem too.
Yeah. How
So
do
if
I?
you do,
how
so
did I
do
get?
you see that plus? So those are all PowerShell. Do you see the plus right above it? So go to the little drop down next to the plus. There we go, and select Git Bash. There you go. Now you're in Git Bash.
I'm just gonna delete.
Yeah. So you can set that up as your default terminal if you would like to. That there's a link to do that at the end of the slides, and I will
Okay.
share that. So that it's just always opens Git Bash by default. You can do other things in Git Bash, so I just like to have it as my default terminal.
Okay.
But yeah,
should I
so
just-
now, yeah, you're doing that git commit line. Yeah, so if you want to do that git commit -m line, try that git commit -m and then put some message. And now hopefully, because you've signed into Git Bash, it might make you sign in again. We'll see. Hopefully this should work. Let's see. It still wants it. That is interesting. Okay. Detect unable to auto got Mark. That's interesting that it kind of got it, but it's still confused. Okay. So it wants you to run those two lines. So you're going to do that git config -- global user.email and then put in your email address. Where it says that you@example.com, that's where you put in your email address. That's weird that it's doing that. I'm gonna see if I
it
can
won't even
figure
let
out
me.
why. Yeah,
Wait.
so you're just gonna type that in down there at the bottom. So you can't edit it right there. You've got to type it in down at the bottom. So git config. Yeah, git config -- global. We're configuring Git. It's really interesting that it's doing that. Yeah, and just put in your email, and then I'll have you -- global user.name and just like put in your name, Mark, or whatever.
Enter again.
Yep, do enter to run that. Awesome. And now do that second line, git config -- global user.name, and just give it your name, Mark. Trying to see if that has not happened to me, but
that happened to me earlier today too.
did it? Did it
Yeah.
work once you did this? So now if we do commit, is it gonna work? That's the question.
I don't know. Let's find out.
Okay, let's try it. Oh, you need to put your message after the -m.
God,
So you've got it. You can't edit right there yet. You've got to. I'm trying to see if there's any reason why it's doing that. Hey, that worked. So now do. Yep. So it did all that stuff. It committed all your changes. Now we want to do that git pull. So git pull origin main. And let's see if it'll pull stuff down for you. It looks like you have been able to pull. That's a good sign. Or maybe that's when you cloned it. Let's see.
Do I type right or do I have to?
Just do get pull origin main and enter. Hey, that's a good sign. Okay, now do get push -u origin main. And now that you're doing this -u thing, you shouldn't have to put origin main on the end of your push and pulls anymore. But do that. That is a good sign. Let's see if it's in the repository.
You think I'm gonna have to,
Woo!
it's good?
Yeah, I'm seeing it over on the repository.
Do you think I'm gonna have to type my email and name again, or is that like a one-time thing?
I'm hoping you do not. You did it -- global. That should have just set it up with this computer. You should never have to do that again.
Okay, cool.
I'm hoping. But
All
yeah,
right,
you've now pushed and pulled and your code is up there. Good job.
okay.
Anyone else have any other questions?
Sorry for
Very
having
good.
to.
No, I love it. That's all I'm here for. I love it. I love like I teach because I'm like, ooh, more like interesting problems, you know. Just, it's like each bug that a student has is like a little puzzle. I want to solve it. We solved the puzzle. Yay. But yeah, guys, have a wonderful night then. If no one has any more questions.
Now, I
See
just
ya
wanna
next
say,
week.
I've said, I'm going to get rid of the GitHub that I sent you, and I'm going to send you my usual one. Maybe that's
Okay.
the problem. I don't know.
Awesome. Let's try that. Yeah, let's get you connected. Okay.
Thanks.
Bye, guys. Have a wonderful
See ya.
night.
Thank you.